It's a beautiful day in Winchester, Virginia, and a beautiful opportunity to set history at Shenandoah University, as 154 teams signed up to compete in Super Smash Bros. This year in NECC. 48 teams entered the national tournament with the goal of winning it all, and now, May 6th, 2025, only 2 remain. Shenandoah University gearing up to take on the University of North Carolina, Greensboro in a rematch of NECC playoffs last year. Kevin, it doesn't get much better than this. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Clayton. This is my lovely brother, Kevin. Like I said, this is a first for us here at Shenandoah University, a national championship opportunity on the line as our Varsity Smash Bros. Team has booked their ticket and earned their way all the way here to get a rematch against UNCG.
And the players are ready to rock it. At a point now where everyone involved really wants to find their chance to make their stride, get everyone on the same page, and go for it all. You don't get many chances like this, Chris, and I can tell that the players want it.
Yeah, both of these teams just about as hot as you can get at this point in the season. Multiple wins under their belt in this tournament alone. UNCG on a heck of a run that we'll get into, but let's talk regular season. Let's take a look at how these teams got here, because it's been a long year, but both of these teams, as you can see, have very much earned the right to be here. 7-0 across the board, identical stats across the board for both of these squads in regular season. An incredible showing all the way up till it mattered in playoffs.
Yeah, 2 universities who both had not only amazing runs during the regular season, but even beyond that, Chris, we've seen a lot of just amazing adaptations from both sides, where they have been able to really identify the opponent's game plan and bring that forward to try and really shake up this sort of metagame that NECC Crew Battles has developed.
Yeah, and then once regular season concluded, we entered our respective playoff brackets. Postseason came around, and both of these teams got knocked out earlier than expected. Both of these teams dropping one series against different teams, but close series along the way. You see UNCG dropped a couple more games along the way, but SU ultimately bowing out 2-0 against Winthrop, the number 2 team in the national tournament. So while the spring semester playoffs did not go their way, they still had an opportunity to redeem themselves in the national tournament, where they won the last semester their playoff bracket and booked their ticket here today. So that brings us to our lovely squad, the people you will be seeing tonight in the Smash Bros. Arena. Farambus, Kip, Igloo, Willie, same 4 you've gotten used to for the last many months now, are looking to make it happen again today.
Yeah, it's a very unique crew we've got here, Chris. We're talking Jigs, we're talking Pac-Man, we're talking Dinos and Scary Demon Mans and other very nice fire users. I mean, we're talking characters that fit a very nice niche around each other, can kind of adapt to other playstyles. There may not be answers for every given character on this roster, but it feels like it's pretty close to who wants what given matchup.
Yeah, SU certainly covers a lot of ground in their character choices. You said it. Jigglypuff, Yoshi, Pac-Man, Kazuya, Terry, Samus, Ness. I mean, we've seen it all, right? Throughout this semester, this team covers a lot of ground, and that's how they've gotten to this point. But their opponent tonight, UNCG, is no exception, especially in the depth regard. I mean, this UNCG squad covers, I would argue, way more ground, believe it or not, than SU. We're looking at potentially a Terry, a Hero, an Aegis, a Yoshi, a Sonic, and a Min Min. So not only is that very diverse, but very top-heavy, very meta-heavy.
It's pretty meta-heavy, Chris, but also we just had one of the biggest Smash Bros. Events in all of Ultimate's history. Kagaribi just took place, and shockingly enough, a handful of those characters that we have seen do so well across the board didn't break top 8. I mean, Min Min didn't make an appearance, and that character can do some crazy stuff. Don't get me wrong. We saw Min Min at Level Up Expo. We saw that character absolutely go crazy. If you are in the right hands, Min Min can do all sorts of crazy stuff, taking your stocks at around 40, if not 0. Like, oh man, there is beautiful stuff from all of these characters. I'm hoping that Shenandoah has a very smart game plan going into this, because you got to be very careful when it comes to counterpicking going into these matches.
Yeah, with a roster like that, it's hard to even say whether we will see the Min Min tonight, which is a crazy thing to think about. This Min Min Camellia put on a show against Oakland, who also had a Min Min. So if any of you were able to tune into that semifinal match between Oakland and UNCG, that was a banger. Went all the way past midnight in a best of 3, went to 3, and UNCG earned the right to be here off the backs of a very strong showing from their Min Min. But SU, different story, but similar when you look between the lines. There was a very strong showing from one of these guys, but it's not the one you might expect. Igloo put on a show in this team's last series against Southwestern Oklahoma State University. 7 stocks in that first matchup, going up against 3 different opponents in 3 arguably nightmare matchups for Yoshi. I mean, that was an all-time showing out of Igloo, and it was when SU needed it most.
Oh yeah, I mean, at that moment, right, Shenandoah's game plan going into it was to send in Kip initially and see how that would go for that Samus matchup, but it didn't work out how Shenandoah planned. Igloo steps in, says, hey, I want to try mixing things up. Let me see if I can take out this Samus. Well, not only do you take out a -3 matchup, you're thrown into a -2 matchup right afterwards, beats out the Corrin player, and then a -1 after that, taking an extra 2 stocks. That was a beautiful run.
It absolutely was, and it's not one we see all the time from that player specifically. Igloo's capable of a lot of things. We call him the fixer all the time back here. I call him the fixer all the time back here, and it's because he gets it done. But he's usually not the one you see go on runs. But who's to say what we might see tonight? Well, the one person I would like to hear it from is Igloo himself. We've got the players standing by outside in the arena as we approach dangerously close to game time. So Ben, let's see how they're feeling.
And Kevin, I am standing by with Avery Igloo, our Yoshi Samus player here at Shenandoah University, our captain of the team. Avery, first things first, how are you feeling competing in the national title?
I couldn't be more excited, Ben. I mean, what a joy it is to be able to compete for this kind of position. Like, we are coming into this tournament as the 13th seed, and seeding a whole lot for these tournaments, because we have a lot of teams that are like the same seed, because there's a lot of ties. We had 1 loss in our Winthrop, so we got in that first round bye territory, and this team has just been tearing it up since. Like, we've thought we were going to bow out a couple times before this match, but lo and behold, here we are. So kind of a static finish to the year. I feel like we've had a lot of, and I'm play such a fun opponent as UNCG.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute banger of a series here against UNCG. Talking a little bit about UNCG as well, looking through kind of the characters and roster that the school has, 4 of them stand out to me. We have a Hero, a Sonic, a Min, and an Aegis on this roster. What do some of those matchups look like, and what do you expect from these players?
Yeah, so one of the issues with this team, Ben, is although I would grant you that those 4 are quite strong, they could also put out about 2-3 more players that give us just as much issues on different characters, and that's really one of the strengths of this team. They are quite deep, and they're also really local. I want to point out as well, this team is all like born and raised in North Carolina, I would say. Like, they're all very active in the North Carolina scene, so they're all very, familiarized with matchups. One of them does have a Yoshi, they do have a Terry, so those kind of matchups they're not going to be unfamiliar with going into players like me and players like Willie. So we're going to have to throw a few tricks at them, and those matchups, honestly, Ben, they're not super fun to play against. We have a lot of matchups tonight that are going to be tough for our Shenandoah players. We have a lot of strong counter picks coming from this UNCG squad. But it's just up to us to use our experience. These are not uncommon characters. There are characters that we've played in tournament many times before. So we're just going to have to use our experience. We're going to have to use what we know about the game to figure out what they do on a player level, and the matchups will figure themselves out from that point.
Oh, yeah.
So apologies with that. A couple of technical difficulties, mic issues aside. We did get to piece a couple of things together, Chris, from all of that. Big things being that this character pool is exactly what we said initially. It's very deep. There are a lot of characters that could deal with a lot of situations, and while Shenandoah does have a pretty well-rounded roster themselves, they may not have that necessary depth that could make all the difference here tonight. It's going to be on Shenandoah to be very particular about those picks, who they send in first, and those counter picks, because once you knock out a given matchup, it can really mess up your later game plan.
Yeah, keeping track of all of these characters can become overwhelming pretty quickly, but there's a couple other things I want to touch on that we were able to siphon from that interview. One thing, yes, Shenandoah came into this tournament as a 13 seed. UNCG coming in at a 19 seed. Now, both of these teams severely outperforming their seeding, and we talked a little bit about that after disappointing finishes in both of their postseason runs, right, that can result in some of these lower seedings. But both of these teams with a chip on their shoulder have since performed well above their pay grade, if you will, and have earned the right to be here. Another thing that we heard out of Igloo there, and something that I only know a little bit about, but this whole UNCG squad is homegrown for the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, right? All of these players are from the state of North Carolina. They've been competing there as long as records show. Like, this is a very much homegrown team, and they have now earned the right, like I keep saying, to win the big one and take a title home to their home team, their home college.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have been lucky enough to actually visit that university's campus before. They've got a really nice setup going over there, and a lot of what UNCG does is a lot of what Shenandoah does in, like, the behind-the-scenes thing, trying to get people experience in both inside and outside the game. But I'm curious to see now, when you're dealing with a culture of players who are all in-state, sometimes that means that they've grown up together, a lot of experience, maybe even before Ultimate. For the side of Shenandoah, it's not nearly as, tight as that. Don't get me wrong, this roster does everything together outside of the game, but I am curious how that sort of dynamic could play into how the players feel going into any given matchup, because a lot of the time when you start building relationships like that, you can start playing a little bit more with your heart than what it is going on up here. You could be a little less analytical. If one of your buddies says, hey, listen, I know the matchup might not be good, but I feel pretty confident I can knock out this opponent, suddenly you might see a whole different side to this crew battle.
That's exactly what I was thinking, right? With that much time, some serious trust can develop. But if we're talking about trust on the SU side, there's certainly one player that has earned the trust of this whole squad, this whole program, basically. When he enters your screen, you can expect some pretty awesome things to happen. Willie, it has been the anchor for this team, and I don't say that just as in the last player, but truly a foundation for this team to work from. He took 6 stocks in our last match against Southwestern Oklahoma State, put on a strong showing as he tends to do, and I expect that the team out there in the arena tonight is expecting a lot out of him today again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking 6 stocks in the second round, but also, Chris, I mean, this player does something fierce. It goes in round 1 against that Game & Watch player, and they go back and forth, and Willie does take the win, but is not satisfied with the win. It takes a special kind of player who really wants to have a fundamental understanding of this game to go back into it and say, yeah, I walked away with the win, but I didn't win enough. Sits down, starts labbing, goes into game 2, and absolutely wipes the floor with that player. That was insanity, Chris.
Yes, incredible to watch, and a massive bounce back and a statement to the commitment of this team, right? You said it. It takes a special type of player to not only win consistently, but want more. To know that you could do better and go out there 30 minutes later and do that much better. 3-stocking that Game & Watch when Shenandoah was on their heels, right? Had their backs against the wall, 1 player left for SU needing to go on a run, and what does Willie do? He goes and takes 6 stocks in the most commanding fashion I've seen in a long time. So SU knows their way out of some serious divots, but specifically on the backs of Willie, when clutch time rolls around, there's one player you know you can put your faith in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even talking to the players afterwards about, like, how they felt about each given matchup, we saw a lot of adaptation just all around going from the first round to the second. Igloo giving a talk to Kip about, hey, here are the things I noticed when I played against the Samus. And while it may not have ended in a 3-stock, it made 1 stock difference for Kip going into that Samus in game 2. Same deal with, like, Farrambus. Farrambus has taken up much more of this bridge role for Shenandoah in a lot of crew battles recently, where he's found particular matchups where Shenandoah's crew is, like, trying to get that momentum going, just barely can't get it, and then Farrambus goes in, says, let me clear out a couple of stocks, just try to make sure that y'all have the matchups that you prefer. And has performed dash attacks and risks galore.
Yeah, Farrambus. The storyline of last week against Southwestern Oklahoma State was, for me, important stocks, right? Farrambus went out and sure, might not be the one taking the most stocks, might not be the one going on the runs that we credit Kip and Willie for taking all the time, but in my opinion, what happened last week was never going to be possible if Farrambus did not do exactly what he did, which, you're right, is sort of bridge these players, bridge this team together, and take the stocks that need to be taken in front of him, right? And so tonight is no exception. With a roster this deep, this talented, and this experienced, every single stock carries that much more weight. So Farrambus has had a lot of momentum coming in here today, and that's exactly how you'd like to be, because it's going to have to last here tonight if Shenandoah is going to come out on top.
Yeah, pretty deep character pool, which means that Farrambus may have an opportunity to sort of pick out which sort of opponents that they might want to go up against. Same deal with Igloo. I feel like Igloo has found a couple of moments where Shenandoah's roster can't find good times to get in, but then Igloo, again, clearing the way before just going all in. It's been beautiful to see these players, but enough of that, Chris. We're hopping into game. We got Jigglypuff versus Hero, Farrambus versus Jugs, and already this Hero player is getting a ton of damage to start things off.
Yeah, massive moment here for Farrambus. Chugs loading in for UNCG, and the #1 player, might I add, in the state of North Carolina, right? This is the talent we're talking about. These are the players you need to keep an eye out for. But if you're Farrambus, these are the important stocks that need to be taken. I don't think many people are expecting a 3-stock or anything crazy out of Farambus, but to do as much damage to this hero as possible would be incredibly important for SU to get off strong.
Yeah, and that's going to be the difficult part right now, Chris, is that Hero's Sword covers a lot of space, especially that space that Jigglypuff likes to sit in to deal with problematic matchups. Look at that, the forward air is spacing out. Farambus doing a good job of going in on the ending lag, but caught going in against the Lightning, going in against that side B. It's going to be on Farambus to find another opportunity here as the forward airs are starting to rack up a little bit more damage, and the dash attack is getting close to that percentage. Man, Farambus has got a lot of shield setups going.
Yeah, Farambus definitely has an eye for that pound, and we saw it pay off pretty good recently, but not that time around. Great reversal out of Chugs, but Farambus racking up good damage, pretty close to taking this first stock, but now down to Hero, only finding a couple hits, but finding, some serious, heavy hitting ones. Opts for the forward smash, and it's enough to get it done. Chugs loses there first, and Farambus is on the board.
Yeah, you got to be careful when dealing with Farambus, because at moments like these, he can rack up a lot of percent pretty quickly. A good up B from Chugs will be able to secure a good get-off-me tool, as now it's going to be on Farambus to find an opportunity to land and get a little bit more of the game plan going, but an accelerate will be enough for Hero to really keep Jigglypuff on their toes.
Yeah, keep an eye on that selection down at the bottom. This is what Chugs likes to play around. We know that this is a pretty standard Hero player in that he likes to sit back and buff himself up exactly like you just saw there. A jab is enough to take that stock. Farambus unfortunately bows out, but is able to get one, so on the road for SU, but Chugs looking awfully hot to start.
Oh yeah, and number 1 in North Carolina sits in the ring looking for an opportunity to keep momentum going against Shenandoah. It's now going to be on the rest of the roster because we're playing a game of selective counterpicks. You may not have the best matchup going into this, but if you can take out this hero, then you may have a favorable matchup going forward. It's a 50-50. It's a risky decision, but it's one that Shenandoah may need to make if they want to try and bring this series back forward. I wouldn't expect that this early. We are in Series 1, after all, or Match 1, excuse me. Set 1. Thank you very much. But nevertheless, this is very important to keep in mind, because you can make these sorts of game-winning decisions at any
really big moment for Shenandoah. And for it being 8:10 local time, we are 10 minutes into this match. This is a pretty big decision for Shenandoah, because last time these two teams played, and we touched on it a little bit in the intro, in the pre-show, that these two teams do have history. Shenandoah did get knocked out of their NECC playoffs last semester to UNCG. So these two teams have played before, and one of the biggest things, one of my biggest takeaways from the last time these two teams met was that Willie and Chugs went pretty even against each other. They were very evenly matched, but where that might lead you is, all right, send in Willie now, take out the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina, and clean up the rest with whatever we've got. But what scares me, Kevin, is a Sonic and I was going to say Aegis, and a Min-Min, that's the other one. A Sonic and a Min-Min are arguably Kazuya's 2 worst matchups, if not his 2 worst matchups, objectively. So, as much as I would love to see Willie go out right now and take the 2 remaining stocks off Chugs, walk away with maybe 2 or 1 remaining, I don't love leaving Sonic and Min-Min on the table for Willie to then have to suffer in.
Yeah, and at that point, who do you send in after Willie? You would try to save that matchup then for, I would imagine, Kip to deal with the Sonic, I would assume. It feels a little fluky because then you have the Aegis in the back, and I know Willie has experience in that matchup.
He loves it.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. Like, Aegis can really mess up a good Kazuya player, but even still, it's like a mental sort of game for Willie. Willie seems to have a good feel for those sorts of things, which means that we have two players for Shenandoah's roster who are kind of like would fit the bill, but I don't know if that's the go-to answer. Generally speaking, Chris, I think you talked about it earlier. I think it might be times for Igloo to fix a couple of things and keep things going for Shenandoah.
Be a bit of a fixer. We will see. I mean, in my opinion, it's safe to rule out a couple things. One, it's safe to rule out the Samus and probably Kip here into Hero at least. Why? Because of the bounce, right? the reflector that lasts what? 30 seconds or something, 20 seconds, a very long time, full uptime, all right, no inputs. Pac-Man, I assume, can never deal with that. So I think it's safe to say that we won't see Kip go in here for SU. So that's the decision. Do you send in Igloo on Yoshi specifically, not Samus, or do you send in Willie and have him just try to deal with whoever comes next? It's hard to say, but we do have confirmation from our production team that it will be Igloo on the Ocean.
And that's a very good decision, especially when dealing with this matchup. Some of the things that Hero has at his disposal is that up B, get off me tool and those hard-hitting forward airs. The nice thing about Yoshi is that you have that double jump armor. You can sit there and brute force your way into a Hero's game plan. You just got to be careful of the up tilt. I'm pretty sure the up tilt with a damage buff, whether it's oomph or the other strength increase, could do enough to really cause some problems. But for now, Igloo is entering the fray as Chugs is looking to keep the momentum going.
All right, SU finds himself in a 2-stock hole to start set number 1 here against UNCG, but an opportunity to claw back and start what would need to be a pretty solid run to take set 1.
That was one flame slash and it did 44, Chris. That was a ton of damage off of the oomph and the buffs all around. I mean, the damage is racking up, but Igloo doing a good job of dashing around Chugs' game plan as Chugs goes for a reversal with that down air. Won't connect into anything else, but the percentage will continue to build.
Yeah, and as soon as he gets an opportunity, you can bank that we will see Chugs go somewhere near center stage and start fishing for buffs, but not going to get one that time. Igloo with a well-timed, well-placed up smash steals that one, and now a big opportunity to maybe try to steal a stock here at a pretty low percentage, Kevin.
Yeah, and look at this. He's going all the way off. He wants something as another follow-up into the nair, trying to call the roll-in. Hero going for a top deck. It gets Metal Slash, which won't do much in this matchup, but a good parry, keeping Igloo alive. And what we talked about earlier, Chris, your ability to hold on to these stocks can make a big difference as Igloo goes in and is looking for it all. One back air into the forward smash. He committed to it, but the side B will beat it out, and Hero will walk away with one stock.
Yeah, now the magic looking a little low for Hero, but not for too long. They are able to find a little bit in the amount of time that they stalled off stage. So Igloo, wow, 30% right off the rip. Igloo down 1 stock, but still looking very comfortable in this Hero matchup. We saw the matchup preference earlier in this show, right? Igloo looks and showcasing exactly why he is so comfortable into Hero. Sends a prayer out in that down air, won't connect. A great projectile there from Chugs. Finds his way back on stage. The forward air goes wide. We get returned back onto the stage, but man, Chugs able to find another one there at a decently low percentage.
Yeah, it was the rage on top of the psych up, Chris. That's just going to be a ton of value, and we see now Chugs looking for those forward smashes. He has to be looking for a crit to close this out. He wants these stocks just as much as Igloo does, as Igloo's looking for those forward airs, playing it a little bit slower than before, is able to find a falling up air, trying to punish the approach, but Hero being a little too heavy, won't die to the up air, but will die to the back air, as Igloo will be able to clear out the Hero player, but the Hero player Chugs 5 stocks in hand.
All right, well, the biggest threat is off the board. The number 1 player in North Carolina in the form of Chugs on this Hero is now in Shenandoah's rear view mirror. The cost, 5 stocks. and a Jigglypuff and most of a Yoshi, right? So is that worth it? Is that going to be enough? Well, only time will tell, but that's the formula we've got going, and that's the plan that SU is going to have to deal with now going into UNCG's second player.
Yeah, but the nice thing about all of this, Chris, is that Shenandoah is a very information-based team. They like to talk with each other about what they notice when it comes to players' habits after any given matchup. A lot of this may feel bad to start off, but going into the next series, keep in mind, this ain't a best of one. We got maximum 3 games, minimum 2, to really keep things going. I mean, there is potential for a high-level adaptation to really mix everything up and suddenly take momentum back into Shenandoah's favor. But for now, you got a quest in front of you. Yoshi's got 1 stock, and he's looking for as much as he can before he can go down.
Yeah, and in the information game here, what did we take away from that? Igloo looked very comfortable into the into this hero, right? Ultimately, only trading 2 for 2, right? So while it looked relatively one-sided for most of that, I guess Hero did start to really storm back late, but Igloo looked more than capable of handling Hero down the line, which I think is good intel for SU, knowing that, yeah, whereas the pressure was on before that matchup to potentially even send Willie out that early, now I think, if nothing else, you know, all right, we don't need to panic in that type of situation if this series is to go for as long as the night will take us, SU finding answers along the way. So now we await UNCG's next player, but it does look like we see the next PR-ranked player in the state of North Carolina, and the only one remaining, the number 11 player in North Carolina, Microwave, which I'm going to take SU in the name game here tonight. I know that we're not competing, but some of these names are pretty interesting, and we'll see them as they pop up.
I love the idea of Microwave going up for an interview like, hey, how do you feel about that game?
Yeah,
that aside.
The name is spelled Microwave, like with a K, like Mike, M-I-K-E. Microwave.
Clever.
I gotta give you that. Even though I still would take SU in the name game tonight. That's a good one. Anyway, Microwave on the Aegis, so a strong character and a tough one for Igloo to deal with again.
And with that, we're going back to what we saw Igloo do last time. He was in some pretty tough matchups the last time we saw him in competition. I'm not saying that it will work out the same way, but if Igloo wants an opportunity to really make a splash during this series, I think full aggression is going to be needed, and a big part of it is getting past this Mithra.
Yeah, this is where we've seen Igloo thrive, is when he plays like he's got nothing to lose, frankly. When he plays as unpredictable as he can draw up. And right now, I would say this is a situation that warrants it. Igloo with 1 stock remaining here in our first set of the national championship in NECC, but Microwave playing very patient, not falling for any of it, not letting Igloo get in and find, frankly, anything. He does find a couple up airs there and gets a read with the grab. Goes for the forward air, spikes into the ground, but nothing more to come of it other than a good 70% damage combo.
Chris, I've talked about this a dozen times on the desk, and I'll talk about it once again. The moment a Mithra player swaps over to Pyra, you need to put your foot on the gas. You can get so much off of that character when you don't have to deal with foresight and the speed alone. As Igloo finds a forward smash to get a little bit going, tries to go off and get the edge guard, won't be able to find it, but will be able to keep this Pyro off stage.
That's a stock, no?
Oh, careful, Chris. Oh, there's
the stock. All right, Igloo not falling for my bait on that one. Goes out and finishes the job. So Microwave does lose their first, and Igloo finds his third, right? If we're doing math here, each player averaging 3 stocks is not a bad combo for SU, but Igloo not done yet. Now up to 100%. Did he land there? He does have a jump. He'll be able to make it back and fight on. Pyra is out, Kevin.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good opportunity for a reversal as Pyra is looking for everything to close it out. The double jump armor will be able to armor the first hit, but Pyra is going to acknowledge it and say, I don't care, you got to stay in place with my hard-hitting moves, and that up tilt will break the armor instead.
All right, well, great awareness from Igloo, and a great job to take a stock once again in an extremely unfavorable situation, right? Igloo in one of the least likely matchups to succeed on Yoshi goes in and gets his one before bowing out. You cannot complain about trading 1-for-1 under those circumstances.
Yeah, something that Microwave did that I want to give kudos to, swapping back to Mithra. Like, the moment they swapped to Pyra, Igloo got 70, and they respected it. You could sit there and be like, well, I'll just get my one down air, and then I'll KO. No. Players are always on the lookout for what Pyra is going to try and KO with. So, good on Microwave to then swap back, try to get more momentum back, a little bit more chip damage to make it so that if Pyra does need to KO, it would be off of 1, maybe 2 hits in that situation because of the double jump armor. But even so, I just worked out so well. And this is why we're competing at NECC Grand Finals, Chris.
Yeah, these teams have put on a show so far. I mean, only 20 minutes into the series, and we've only seen 3 players, but every single player looking extremely talented, as we knew they would, and as we've seen on this stream before. Again, these teams have history. This series has been played before, and UNCG was the one to come out on top last time. So, SU with a big decision ahead of them, but I think we all saw it on the camera there. Kip, next one up in the hot seat, and 8 stocks remaining for him and Willie to take theoretically an average of 4. Not so bad.
Yeah, definitely an all-right spot to be in. Mithra able to get a Galaga combo of her own. It's going to be on Kip to try and slow down the pace a little bit, but look at how Kip is trying to box with Mithra, trying to keep Mithra on her toes, going all the way to the bottom blast zone, trying to get that damage rolling. Microwave doing a good job of not trying to hold in too early as the foresight comes into play.
Yeah, all right. Foresight number 1 down. As we know, we will see quite a few of those. Pyra now on the table, does get the grab off the roll from the ledge. Kip just trying to reestablish some stage control here. A grab goes wide, but the matchup preference there on the left side of your screen, Kip does like the Aegis matchup. He does get spiked back into his trampoline and is able to make it back to the stage. So a bit of a scare for the Hornets, but nothing too crazy just yet as Kip, again, continues to apply pressure however he can.
Yeah, playing just very box heavy right now. A lot of aerials thrown in the face of this Pyra Mithra player, just trying to keep them away, but instead Pyra holding in, going for the back air, will be able to secure a stock as we swap back to Mithra and have to deal with the game plan once more.
Yeah, SU now down to 5 stocks remaining. Kip able to re-grab his bell, so this is where kill opportunities are made. Bell goes a little bit wide and dies on the platform, but Kip able to find a back air there and avoid a lot of damage. Has not been hit much in this second stock. While this game has slowed down quite a bit, Kip in great control. The up B forced to land on the stage, but Kip not able to punish it too much. He just does jump into the bell, but again, no kill confirmed just yet out of Kip.
Yeah, Kip struggling to find this stock. An orange is thrown out. Able to throw it down this time around. Prevent the recovery, meaning that we are 1-for-1. Kip taking only 20% in return is going to start looking for another opportunity to get things rolling as Mithra is back once again to swing some hard-hitting moves and keep that combo game going.
Yeah, the speed from this Mithra is overwhelming, but now off the table, right? The switch to Pyra at only about 50-60% on this Pac-Man is certainly a decision from Microwave, but feeling aggressive, feeling the pressure to try and get another stock before going down. Kip unable to find some of these combos that we saw at the start of this matchup, but we've also seen in the rest of this tournament, right? The Hydrant blocking out the Galaga that time around, but 60% and no, the Galaga combos, that the other fruit that can really rack up early percentage has not been able to find its way home yet for Kip.
Yeah, but a good nair will prevent Pyra from going for anything too crazy. Kip walking forward, going for the grab on the Pyra shield. It won't work out this time as Pyra is playing the game slow, trying to sit back. Kip going for the forward air, will eat a nair in exchange, sitting at a very high percent in a very dangerous spot up against Mythra, but the bell is out. Kip looking for an opportunity, does find a nair. The bell won't connect, which means that Kip needs to sit back once more to find another option. Pyra opting to take out the fire hydrant, go for the side special. The bell clanks, is thrown the other way, but Pyra's in the air. The forward smash won't connect as the back air connects onto Kip.
Yeah, while I said the low percentage combos haven't been finding their way, Kip has done a great job of building percentage otherwise and is now poised and in an opportunity, in a position to threaten another stock here. Microwave now up to 113% and a couple opportunities not quite there. 130% now with a bell in hand. The sour spot, the lingering forward smash, and Kip gets away with one there. Now the stock deficit closes down to 1, and it's 6-5. Kip walks away with 2.
And the request put in front of him was 4 stocks to be taken. In exchange, I would have expected 2 stocks off of that matchup, but once again, it makes big moments like these to really decide who walks away on top, and Kip resets his percent. That is 140 some odd percent off of Pac-Man, Chris. If Pac-Man is not personally escorted into the blast zone, he makes it back every time.
Yeah, percentage left on the board is a quick and critical way to lose series, right? This is the type of thing that if you cannot capitalize on the amount of effort it takes to get a player like that up to 140% or whatever, that can be a quick way to lose control of a series like this.
Yeah, so with all of that being said, we see a little bit of what the players have going on, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, Chris. It seems like things are calming down a little bit, and overall, Kip seems to be taking a moment to breathe, keeping himself relaxed, keeping himself poised. I'm loving it.
Yeah, we see the team doing a lot of thinking here, right? Conveying information. This is something we see this team do quite a bit. When they get out of a series, get out of a matchup, they immediately turn around and talk to the rest of the squad and give whatever intel they can to the rest of the team, right? Should you ever find yourself playing against this Aegis, here's what you need to know. Here's what I noticed when I had to deal with this type of situation, when I had to deal with that, when I saw them make this decision. Not only are they gaining all this information, but they spread it. They make sure that the entire team is on the same page should they ever find themselves in a sticky situation. And now, a sticky situation they're starting to claw their way out of and bringing the stock deficit down to 1.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the team picked up a little bit on how that Pyra Mythra player was recovering. It felt like Kip went into that match, all the momentum in the world. We saw a little bit of the matchup preference, but it felt like that Pyra Mythra player was doing a really good job of just barely avoiding Pac-Man down airs and nairs off stage. Like, it is hard to recover as Pyra Mythra consistently. That character has a pretty linear recovery, so for you to find opportunities to still scoot your way out of the way can make a world of difference. But now we get to see the next matchup here, Chris. Moxort able to pick Terry Bogard up against the Pac-Man.
All right, again, big decisions. Every opportunity that UNCG has to send in a new player is another player that we won't see, right? When you get a roster with depth like this, unfortunately, only 4 players can go in and get stocks. Only 4 players will get to see the stage here tonight. And with this decision now, that rules out, I mean, it leaves us with only 3 players left. So we'll keep an eye on that when we get there. But Kip, again, you saw the matchup preference there on the side. Kip loves this matchup. You have to think has some good experience going up against his teammate, Willie.
Yeah, as we see the bell connect, but the forward smash is barely out of the way as Terry enters Go Percent, going for the Power Waves. Power Waves can combo into Cluster Wolf. You got to be real careful with these sorts of setups, Chris, as Kip is able to make it back to the ledge, gets the apple online, throws it into Terry's face as Terry goes for the jump cancel, power dunk, goes for the roll-in, but Kip ready for it as the invincible version of the recovery is going to beat out Kip's edge guard.
All right, Kip definitely looking comfortable here. You see the movement and all of the decision-making. The confidence looks astronomically higher than it did in the last matchup. You can tell that Kip likes this matchup, but does get caught hanging onto the ledge just a little too long that time around. So Moxort finds himself at 140, but caught by another bell combo, and that time Kip finds pay dirt. So gonna have to make up some ground here after leaving a kill on the board there earlier on, but Kip still looking pretty good. Does get spiked, but oh no, Pac-Man with no options to recover there. Couldn't make it back, and disaster strikes for Shenandoah.
Yeah, Kip was going for the side B. We heard the first sound of his side B come out, but because of how strong that spike was, it hit him in just the right spot where Pac-Man would fall just a little bit as he was sending that move out and would be escorted into the blast zone. It is a tough loss, but even so, it felt like Kip wanted more going into that, and I think he's already picked up on a bunch of habits that he saw out of that player.
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of hard reads there. I saw the roll prediction into the grab. I saw a couple other things. Again, there was the opportunity with the bell and the forward smash just a little wide. You have to think that that's another opportunity that Kip will not let pass him again. So Kip, again, with a lot of information, if nothing else, unfortunately does come up short, and now Willie left to take 5 stocks in a row if he's able to come out with a win in set 1 here. But you have to think that no matter who he picks, there's probably either a Sonic or a Min behind this Terry.
Yeah, you have to deal with either Kazuya or Terry. And both of those characters recovering back on the stage against Min is going to be tough. On the other side of that, if you pick Kazuya, then you're dealing with Sonic's just speed inherently. It feels very difficult to get your game plan off just because of the whiff punish game of Sonic. He can be a football field away from you, dash in a split second, and punish you for a move you were throwing out to just try and gain some space back.
Yeah, so it does look like we will see Willie on his Terry here, which we have seen Willie come out of this situation on top before. We've seen Willie go on runs that looked borderline impossible, right? And 5 stocks is not the biggest number we've seen Willie stand up against. The problem is this UNCG roster is extremely talented.
Yeah, and the first things first, Chris, you have to deal with a mirror matchup to start things off. That is very mentally taxing on anyone. Dealing with someone else playing your character and getting hit by something can really mess with your mental, so it's going to be on Willie to hold strong as the combos start off for Moxort getting a solid amount, but then Willie returning it in stride.
Yeah, with basically the same combo there, we'd see the mirror matchup fully online here at Willie with a great response, not phased just yet. Moxort looking to find his own momentum, and I mean, don't feel afraid if you start to get lost in the Terrys here, as a jab power dunk connects but will not take the stock. Go meter online for Willie. That's 2 new moves in this moveset, but another jab power dunk gets SDI'd out of an advantage. Willie with an opportunity catches the jab on the roll. Jab. Buster Wolf will take the first. Willie on his way to something great.
Yeah, that was a very dangerous Buster Wolf there, Chris, as we see an invincible rising tackle able to get Moxort out of a very dangerous situation. 2 jabs into the up smash. A couple of moments like that could spell disaster, but he's looking to end that stock on Willie, as Willie is sitting with a nice go meter. 1 Buster Wolf to the face will mean that 64 is set up onto Willie.
Yeah, Willie doing a great job of getting some serious value out of this go meter. The auto turnaround catches the roll. Both of these players benefiting from the auto turnaround, but that time Moxort will come up with a stock from it. Again, though, Willie doing a great job of getting value from the go meter. It can be hard to capitalize from a comeback mechanic without just losing your stock along the way. So Willie doing a great job of doing what needed to be done. Getting rid of the stocks ahead of him, did lose one, but you have to think, I mean, that was truly one hit away from this being an even 3-3 1v1 for set one.
Yeah, it's very clear to see that Willie is locked in. He wants this series to be as close as possible. He wants as much information as possible on these players and their play styles. So we will get to see the last player that UNCG will send in. But with all that being said, it does look like a very tough matchup ahead. A lot of it's going to come down to Willie not committing to anything too crazy unless he's very confident that he can walk away with it.
Yeah, so options on the table from what we know are a Yoshi, a Sonic, and a Min Min, right? I have to think that under these circumstances, it would likely be either Sonic or Min Min, and I believe we have seen UNCG in their previous series, in their previous situations like these, opt for the Min Min over Sonic. Now, circumstances are circumstantial, right? Anything can happen. All of these situations are different, but given what we have seen in the past, it certainly seems like UNCG favors the Min Min in situations like these, and it looks like that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, so a Min Min Terry matchup. I'm curious not only for how Willie feels going into this, but also the stage that will be picked in response. I imagine, on the one hand, you would think, oh, I want a small stage. I want to be close to Min Min at all times. Well, at the risk of Min Min being able to cover the entire stage with her arms. On the other side of that, oh, maybe I want more space. Maybe I'm trying to keep myself at a distance, play a slower game. It's difficult when the stages that are legal in Smash Bros. Ultimate right now are so incredibly difficult with respect to getting knocked off the sides. They're big stages, but they bring you pretty close to the side blaster.
Yeah, now, Min Min has seen some serious fire in the community as of recently, right? This character has a lot of momentum behind them, but something I know that Captain Igloo was telling me before the series here was, and granted, it was Kazuya, but Riddles, one of the best FGC Smash Bros. Players in the world, just took a Min Min to Game 7 on Kazuya, right? The thing about Min Min is that this character can sometimes just kind of explode. So we'll see if Willie's able to walk away with maybe some surprise stocks, and that could be the difference maker in this.
Yeah, but the big answer is getting in. Min Min doing a good job of not committing to anything too crazy, instead opting to throw out usually one arm rather than both in these sorts of situations right now, as Swift Baby Camilla will be able to keep damage rolling, able to knock Willie off stage, but Willie doing a good job of finding an opportunity back on. Does get hit with the double jump out of the way. There's that Dragon Fire, Chris, and I don't know if Willie can make it back at that point, as there is no double jump.
Yeah, if he could before, he certainly couldn't after that last one, and that's the Min Min value we're talking about. The zoning, the space that this character controls is oppressive. It's hard to get in there, and this is a perfect showing of why Camellia has not been hit since Willie was on stage in that last stock. I mean, Camellia has taken full control of this matchup where it looked like they were starting to trade even. Willie finally with an opportunity to try and capitalize on an advantage. Jab, jab, power dunk does connect. Won't quite take that one, but Min Min more than enough to get back to the stage, but right into Willie's hands. He will take that first stock.
Yeah, again, this is an information game, Chris. You're trying to see as much about your opponent as possible. Willie able to find the forward air, does look for a little bit more. Will be able to get around the Min Min game plan this time around, sitting at 92. No go meter online, but is absolutely looking for a way to close out this stock as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's the type of looks that SU's going to need to find. What was that? The power dunk lands at a range there through Min Min's hands, but ultimately not enough to find the stock. Jab, jab, power dunk connects once again. The go meter online like we know. The shield getting awfully low, but man, can Min Min recover.
Yeah, we do see an opportunity to get back on stage. Willie caught in a tech situation on the platform. Will need to find an opportunity to back on. Does get past the megawatt, but there's a Dragon Fist to follow. There's the power dunk to follow up. Willie sitting at 121, looking for an opportunity to close it as Min Min is throwing out those arms like it will close out this match in a lickety-split second as we see Willie doing a dance.
Oh, wow. The aerial just takes the stock off the top blast zone. Willie very, very close to clawing out of that one, but ultimately brings it within one and falls just short. So UNCG, with a statement, pulls ahead 1-0 in our national championship series.
Yeah, and look at the players once again. It's all talk. It's all figuring out what the game plan is going forward, because at any given point, it could turn back into Shenandoah's favor, but you got to play with the knowledge you have ahead of you. A lot of habits were definitely picked up from both sides. Did Shenandoah's players pick up on all of them? Can they convey that to each other before they go into the next matchup? I think they can, but there is a tall mountain ahead of them, and the safety net that is usually there has been burned away. You need 2 of these sets or it is game over.
Yeah, the room for error is starting to evaporate, but I do think that was part of the game plan coming into tonight for Shenandoah. They had a lot of information to gain, and while talking to the players before the series, I remember hearing them say that we've got a lot of games to figure this out, right? This can be as long of a night as we need it to be, right? This can go to 3 and SU can still come out on top, but you said it. The safety net is gone. SU with now 24 stocks left to take over 2 sets and cannot lose 24 of their own. We'll see if it's enough to get it done.
Yeah, there's a chance for a reset, and I think a lot of it will come down to who they want going into any given matchup. We saw Far Rhombus go in first and have to deal with that hero player, and I don't think that is what Shenandoah expected initially. Usually when you have a player of that caliber, a lot of people tend to save them for the anchor, but once again, big decisions like that can make all the difference in a series like this. A very strong start from UNCG, but now, do you feel the pressure to change? Who is going to be sent in first from UNCG? I imagine usually the team that goes down changes their game plan. Does UNCG try to predict it once again, or do they just commit with the game plan that they know worked the first time?
Yeah, it's hard to say, and it's hard to predict, but what you can acknowledge is that the University of North Carolina Greensboro is on just about as much of a tear as you can imagine, right? This team had to go through Concordia University Ann Arbor in their round 1 matchup, Lebanon Valley, who was a familiar opponent to Shenandoah in our group. They had to beat Fisher Northeast head-to-head, and that went to 3, and UNCG came out on top. They won a forfeit over Fisher West, and then won a banger of a series against Oakland last week that I mentioned earlier on. So, and to mention, that Oakland series was a win in 3 sets after being 2-0'd at NACE Finals in Orlando not too long before. So UNCG has a lot of momentum. They have figured something out, and they were able to get it done in set number 1 there. But a difference of only 1 stock, you have to acknowledge that while, yes, UNCG has a lot of momentum coming into tonight and looked very good in that first set, Shenandoah does have a lot to grasp onto, and if they can put it all together, they do have a serious shot at coming out with 2 more set wins.
Yeah, it's on UNCG to see how much fuel they have left for this fire. Shenandoah does a pretty good job at playing a pretty slow, consistent game. As we hop into game, my apologies, we will see Far Rhombus going in first and a Yoshi on the other side. Sure enough, Chris, it is a pretty big changeup from UNCG, not Shenandoah, to try and mix up UNCG. UNCG swapping up their first player, Swift Baby, on the Yoshi, making the appearance.
Okay, this is really interesting, because what did I say near the end of the last set? Every decision that UNCG makes to put a player in means another one won't see the light of day. Swift Baby was one of the players that did not get an opportunity to showcase their skill in the first set. It was one we knew that they had, but we did not get to see. So while we talk so much about information gained for Shenandoah, this slipped under the radar, and it's going to be a hurdle that SU is going to have to get over.
Yeah, as we see the percentages start to even out, Chris, look at how the two players are trying to space each other out, trying to get the other one to take in the bait and approach first. Swift Baby able to find a forward air, able to find the back air this time around. Pretty good DI from Farombus, but not enough to hold on to the stock as Jigglypuff is incredibly light and will be sent flying, but Swift Baby getting a little bit more of that combo game going, able to find the grab as Farombus is looking for one opportunity not only to land, but to find the last hit.
Yeah, Farombus doing a great job in that first stock of finding damage, but a lot of control has been showcased out of Swift Baby ever since. A lot of damage, stock taken at 57% to boot, but not for long. Farombus with a nice little combo there, leading into a back air to tie this stock count back up and give himself a window to maybe even out the percentage as well.
Yeah, Farombus finding the sweet spot, getting around the egg, it will be able to get a little bit more damage going, able to dash out of a pretty dangerous setup from Swift Baby, but Swift Baby doing a real good job of catching Farombus in shield as Jigglypuff needs to play very careful with the shield already, but Farombus has done a pretty good job of showcasing that he can utilize shield pretty effectively without feeling the pressure of losing it, but a dash back will get caught by a back air from Swift Baby. Farombus looking for an opportunity to keep things going, but the down air into two up airs won't add to this equation as Farombus finds the back air to keep damage rolling.
Yeah, 52% on this third stock in the blink of an eye. Farombus really struggling to find his way back to the ground and find damage of his own. Swift Baby only at 34%, only a couple aerials landing, and Farombus just struggling to establish the game plan. Drag down back air, the forward air connects as well. Swift Baby goes up to try to finish it off. Now 100% on this Jigglypuff, and he gets turned into an egg. The forward air goes just wide. A nice little mashing job out of Farombus as he looks to, again, just claw this back and find whatever he can before likely bowing out. But the back air connects, and strong DI from Farombus will give him another opportunity, but trading that time won't get much. So Farombus unfortunately bows out after one stock, again this time against a different opponent, but SU gonna have to dig deep once again to claw out of it.
Yeah, this time around, you have a different character in front of you. You have Yoshi with the knowledge that Hero could be sitting in reserve. This drastically changes how this would be played from last time. Yes, Farombus having a similar performance will find the one stock, but it won't be too different in the sense that now it's going to be on Shenandoah to find who they want to send in and what matchups are they willing to forsake, what matchups are they willing to have UNCG send in later that may be difficult to really mix things up.
Yeah, now SU with a familiar situation on their hands, an opportunity for a Ditto, right? Is this the approach you take? Do you send in Igloo on the Yoshi? I mean, that was the answer last set against Hero, right? So it wouldn't be too foreign, but with a mirror matchup, like you said, that can be extremely difficult for anybody, right? Everybody's gonna feel like they're good into their own character, right? Everybody's gonna think that they know all the ins and outs of their characters and how everybody likes to play it. But until you go in and play somebody playing your own character, yeah, you said it, that can be extremely frustrating when they start to land your own combos on you. So do you put Igloo through that? I think if there's one person on the team who can handle it, it's Igloo.
Yeah, I do think that Igloo definitely has that mindset to go in and try and deal with it. But I also, that still is extremely taxing just on your mental game. Like, it feels like you can't really do much more once you're past that point. A lot of Dittos tend to end with a 3-2 split, and Shenandoah is behind. I don't know if you want to go for this Ditto if you're willing to give up that level of momentum. It's a very dangerous play. It's one that I'm sure they're discussing right now, but I do wonder kind of how Igloo feels about that, or is it going to need to be potentially Kip going in or Willie to try and be the equalizer where now Shenandoah has a bit of matchup experience against a Yoshi. It's just not this Yoshi.
Yeah, this is interesting too, because normally by now I have a confirmation from our prod team, but I don't this time, which means SU truly must be talking this one out, and I don't blame them, right? This is a pivotal moment. This is a fork in the road that could be the difference between a national championship and a devastating fall to second place. So I await the decision, but SU clearly taking as much time as they need in ensuring that they make the right decision, and I don't blame them at all.
I mean, every little thing matters at this point. The safety net is gone. You need to make your decision, and you need to be confident in it. You don't need to make a confident decision fast, Chris. You can take your time, you can talk it over, but once you have your decision, stick to it and commit, because otherwise, if you start taking your foot off the gas, it could really spell disaster.
Yeah, that's a great shot, too. The hot seat was truly empty. The team with a big decision, but you see what we see right there. That is the Pac-Man sitting down and locking in his character on the Switch. So it looks like Pac-Man is the decision, and I think you're right. I think it's hard to justify Igloo going in and coming out overwhelmingly positive. I'm sure that's what the players were talking about out there, and I think I like what I saw out of Igloo against Hero as well. This is a matchup that I'm sure, okay, as much as we talk about, somebody won't go in because there's 6 players on this roster and only 4 of them can play. If there's a lock, it's Hero. If there's someone we will see, it's this Hero. So we know that's somewhere in reserves, and we know that Igloo likes that matchup and looked very good into it 30 minutes ago. So I'm sure that's also part of the decision making here, and we'll see if it pays off with Kip going in and trying to claw back into this.
And not only that, it's a bait, essentially, because you are expecting Kip to take the 2 here. Whether he loses 2 stocks, 1 stock, 0 stocks is going to be played out all the same, but it is very much a bait on a lure to try and get this Hero out of hiding. If you could pull this player out, say, hey, listen, we'll give you the Pac-Man matchup. You just got to send yourself in right now while we still have a Yoshi in reserve. It's a power play. It's one that could spell disaster if played properly. But until that point, we got to get through a match, Chris.
Yeah, as much as we like to sit here and talk about the future, none of it matters if you don't get there. You got to deal with the stock that's right in front of you, and both of these players have a matchup in front of them. That's not one we've talked about. Pac-Man into Yoshi, a matchup you have to think that Kip is pretty familiar with against Igloo, practicing against his own teammate, and we'll see if it's enough to bring the hammer down this time around. 2 stock deficit for SU, one that we've seen them claw out of multiple times this year and almost claw out of just last set, bringing it within 1 right at the end, but unable to come out on top. Will the story be different this time? Kip certainly looking to make that so.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Swift Baby here. They play a very different Yoshi game than what we see out of Igloo. They play very grab-heavy, Chris, and that can spell a ton of great opportunities against opponents who are very shield heavy. Kip is a character who inherently does look for shield opportunities, shield reversals, etc. But on the other side of that, you have Yoshi, who's going to be able to get these grabs at a distance, keep the momentum going. It's going to be on Kip to find an opportunity to equalize it as the Nair connects.
Kip certainly has a chip on his shoulder as well. I mean, you have to think back to how his run ended in set 1 with that spike against Terry. That's not how he wanted to go out, and that's not how I'm sure anyone was expecting him to go out. So looking to prove himself here with a key through the hydrant. A nice little surprise there from across the stage, and Kip finds his first and is on his way.
Yeah, we'll be able to find the forward air. Yoshi looking for a falling up air to potentially close out the stock. The back air will do it instead. A 1-for-1 trade, all the same, will mean that someone, if the momentum of this match continues the way it's going right now, someone's got to walk away with the stock advantage, Chris, and it's looking like it should be Kip.
Yeah, Kip in great control here. 8 stocks to 10, still a 2-stock deficit. Regrabs the Galaga, opts to get rid of it. Hydrant comes down, he'll buy himself some more time. The apple comes out, but we know how deadly that thing can be. Forward air goes just wide though. Swift Baby looking to establish more control around the stage, but struggling to get through those hydrants. Does find himself on the right side that time around, and we see what they're able to do with it. I mean, occupying space is a big deal against Pac-Man, and when you get on the near side of that hydrant, it can be overwhelming for Pac-Man to deal with.
Yeah, but there's that B reverse into the up smash, which will be able to close out another stock. Chris, I'm telling you, it's this shield pressure game that Swift Baby is able to really dance around. We've seen so many grabs doing so much and getting a ton of value because Shenandoah players are relatively strong when they can play around their shields. So Swift Baby taking full advantage of that, trying to secure even more as the fire hydrant doesn't connect on the back throw, but even so, Kip charges a bell and will be looking for a setup to follow as Swift Baby sits in shield for a moment, goes for a jump up, almost gets hit by the hydrant, but instead will get a bell caught to the face, eat a back air. It won't be enough to KO, but Kip is given enough time to charge one more bell.
Yeah, what did we learn about Kipper earlier this semester? It's that he thinks Pac-Man can really struggle to take stocks. We'll see if it's enough to find that one, and it sure is. Bell lands at the ledge, and a forward smash connects, but trading 2 for 2 means that Kip is going to have to go on a bit of a run here, or the rest of the SU squad is going to have to make up for it.
Yeah, so that brings up this point now, where Kip has 1 stock in hand. We were talking earlier about this bait on a lure setup, Chris. It has a lot more impact depending on how many stocks Kip has. Because you can bait Hero in for this matchup, yeah, but there's a Minnow at the moment who is looking for a chance to really, eat up.
Yeah.
At this point, you're playing around this 1 stock, and if you think someone else can take it unscathed, well, then why am I sending in Hero? Or you send in Hero and say, well, let me guarantee this one. It's like some sort of money game show type thing. I'm just going to lock in my money right here and now.
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? And this is what makes crew battles so special. This format can create some seriously unique situations for how simple it is, right? You have 12 stocks, you get to choose how you divvy them up. But in situations like these, there's no clear-cut right answer, right? Everybody's going to have different preferences. Each player in this series tonight might want to play this differently, but it's up to those people in the UNCG locker room who are making the decisions, and whatever they decide they're most comfortable with is what we will see. But it's hard for us to try to predict that because, yeah, I don't know that there is a right answer about whether you hold on to Chugs or not.
And the hardest part about all of this is that Chugs is a really good player, but is playing really good on a character that can be very fluky at times. You can have some real high roll moments on that character, and it might mean, yeah, I have all the setup in the world. I know exactly how I'm going to deal with Hero. Oh, suddenly I died at 30 because he hit me with a thwack.
Yep.
And it just decided, game rolled the dice and said, oh, natural 20.
You don't deserve that stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, right? When Smash Bros can make those decisions against you. But that's the nature of Hero, right? That's what you sign up for. That's what Hero signs up for as well. I mean, this is a very volatile, very unpredictable character, and that's what everybody's got to deal with, and what everybody does tend to deal with in the end, or figure their way around. So Kip, with 1 stock to work with, we've seen this player go on some serious runs. We've seen this player do truly incredible things all semester long. And now, with 1 series left in their season and 1 stock left to work with, does not need to take all 3, but is going to look to get as much as he can.
If all of that is being said, let's say, hypothetically, that this Hero player decides to sit in the back. Say, I'm not going to take the bait that is in front of me. I'm trying to save myself for either Igloo or Willy. That is the bait that I want. even so, then who do you send? Do you send in the Pyramithra player? We saw how that matchup went. It, tends to go so-so. You just need to be very careful, again, about staying on Pyra too long, especially when Kip is able to follow you off stage so incredibly far. I do see we are picking stages, which means we should be going into game here shortly. And Kip, of course, picking his counter music of choice. On top of all of that, Chris, we had no information back here at the time, but we can see a little bit ahead of y'all that Pyramithra is chosen, and that means Kip has an opportunity for redemption.
Yeah, Microwave is the response for UNCG, and will look to do as much as they did last time, right? Microwave did find a lot of success into Shenandoah's roster against different players, but I don't remember how many stocks they took against Kip specifically. I want to say only one.
I believe it was
it was
two.
only one because that was the 150% left on the board.
You are so right, Chris. It was very close, but Kip was able to find an opportunity to reverse it. So as we hop into this game, Kip taking a little bit of percentage lead on the Mithra, but 1UP will be able to equalize those equations as Kip is caught in a couple of bad hits and Pyra is swapped out. Kip going to look for the next opportunity. A very important parry right there. I don't know if it would have broken shield, but it would have been real close.
Oh yeah, Kip evades death once, at least that time, but now the ledge interaction favors Kip. Some serious damage coming out from this Pac-Man, doing a great job of, once again, controlling the stage, and we see the swap back to Mithra as they find themselves up at 116% and struggling to find much success on the Pyra. So the recovery does get back to the ledge once again. The bell catches the landing, and Kip finds one. A big deal for this Shenandoah Pac-Man as he's not done, Kevin.
Yeah, 47%. Mithra doing a good job of going for that photon edge before Kip can get back onto an opportunity to get that down air to connect. Even so, Kip sitting at 109, Pyra back out one more time. Kip doing a good job of dancing around the Pyra back airs, trying to make sure that whatever setup follows, it should get as much value as possible. There's that forward air into the dash attack, and a bit of fruit charge to go with it. Galaga, pardon me, is picked up by the Pyramithra player, is immediately thrown out. Pyra going for the forward air, but won't be able to get much more than that.
Yeah, Kip's doing a great job of holding on to this stock right now. 146% and so close to losing it so many times, but does get knocked into another opportunity to recover, so make it 157%, but won't be able to survive that one. So was worked up pretty hard and got as much credit as he could, but ultimately ties and trades 1-for-1 with Microwave, and SU once again down 8-6, but with different characters to try to deal with it.
Yeah, at this point you have two players who both have two characters in reserve to deal with Pyramithra and two other players, maybe not with two characters in each of their pockets, but two players that could be swapped out with any other given player at any given time. There are a ton of matchups left on this table. It wouldn't shock me at this point if we go back to the old reliable game plan and Igloo is the one who makes the appearance here, because Willie inherently is the anchor.
Yeah, this is not the time to try and change up who you are. Now is not the time to try and be someone you're not. You cannot change the game plan that has worked so well for Shenandoah for the last 2 years. And that game plan's name is Willie, right? We saw it at the end of set 1. Willie brought that so much closer than frankly it ever should have been. One stock difference separating set 1 is extremely deceptive. While that was very, very close, it looked like when Kip got spiked by the Terry, it was all the bad break that was going to give UNCG the pass to set 1, and that was fine, right? You're always fishing for those moments, and UNCG found their one. But for Willie to claw all the way out of that and bring it within 1, that is the game plan for Shenandoah. You have to think that this team was not necessarily expecting to be in the lead until UNCG's stocks were at 0. And a big portion of that is because Willie is last.
Yeah, Willie is the type of player who just wants to find chances to just go all out, to try to go berserk, and really let everyone know that he is a menace in the Smash Ultimate competitive space. But there is another player, Igloo, who goes in and finds opportunities to secure stocks as much as possible. And in these sorts of situations, I mean, you have to put a little bit on Igloo as well. Don't get me wrong, an anchor is expected to get as much as they can right at the end and basically brute force their way through it. But these are tall orders, and some players definitely need to make appearances to try and close that out, and I do see that Igloo is the one entering the hot seat, trying to deal with this Pyra/Mythra player, which means that now it's going to be on him to secure as much as possible, and then let Willie run loose.
Yeah, this is a two-player game still, right? Neither of these players should feel like they need to be the hero, no pun intended, right? This is where, again, you cannot stray from who you are, and we see that Igloo has opted to go for the Yoshi, which I think makes sense, again, for a couple reasons. One, that hero is still on the table to deal with all the Samus projectiles, but two, this is the comfort, right? This is what SU knows how to play. This is what Igloo feels the most comfortable on. So why shy away from that? Why doubt your best character? Well, there's one reason. Igloo does not love this matchup, but this is going to be what it takes for SU to come back. We've seen Igloo go into unfavorable matchups before, but can he do it one more time when it matters most?
Yeah, pressure's on him, and the music definitely making that clear as we see that Igloo is finding opportunity for a couple of hits, gets the egg secured, and is forcing Microwave to recover low. You see it, the up B connect, get a little bit more damage onto Igloo as both players kind of reset. Mythra getting a solid amount of space coverage, just dashing forward, going for the nair. Igloo respecting it, dashing backwards in exchange. Clearly respecting the game plan, but the Pyra swap for the dash attack is going to be the jump scare that is needed when you play Pyra/Mythra to really secure stocks.
Yeah, so secure stocks it does. Igloo loses his first, but I think we, at least in this building, all know that Igloo's not one to be phased by a move like that. He looks to reset. But again, this matchup's still very uncomfortable for the Yoshi, and we're seeing exactly why. The foresight on that egg just for the sake of doing it. Now Pyra opting for the swap off Mythra, and the down air connects. The up air will not quite be enough, so Igloo holding on to this stock. Still, Igloo able to avoid the projectile, but the up tilt is able to find another one, and now Igloo, with only one stock to work with, still looking for his first.
Yeah, in a very difficult matchup, and we are seeing why it's difficult for Igloo to find chances back in and close out these sorts of stocks. As we see the down B come through, it won't be able to shield break. Mythra dashing around, getting that game plan online as Igloo is looking for a grab to potentially throw Microwave off stage. But Microwave saying, enough of that, I will take full control of center stage, and you will be the one to have to deal with me.
Yeah, Igloo having to find a way to deal with this pressure, and he is able to fish and find an up smash, and take the first stock. So still on the board as long as Igloo's got a stock to work with. He can be a problem. So it's going to take just about everything he's got at this point. 78% on his own and little room for mistakes, but able to string together some serious damage here and go up to the top platform. The last up air gets air dodged, and Microwave lives to fight another day, but does seriously get a good scare from Igloo there.
Yeah, that was a very nice setup using the down air to send Microwave even higher, but Microwave is now looking for that last hit. Just about anything can close out the stock on this Yoshi as a Downbeat comes out to try and get a potential shield setup, just knock Pyra away, as Pyra is looking for all sorts of setup. The up airs come out, falling up air will follow. Pyra able to use the double jump to get out of the way, but the momentum stalls once again as Pyra is looking for that final hit.
Yeah, both of these players more or less one hit away from death at this point. Both over 100%, and Igloo looking for multiple up airs, multiple back airs, just trying to find his way in. The forward air will be the one to connect, and can Pyra recover from that? She certainly can. So Igloo cannot quite capitalize on the ledge, but does find an air to at least send them off stage and chases after it. So Igloo comes out on top in the head-to-head, but not before losing 2 along the way. But as long as he's got 1, Kevin, he can be a threat.
Yeah, and look at that. Not only do we get to see more of the players, but we get to see a surprise appearance from AJ, who has been a vital resource for Shenandoah's roster in the past. Just kind of a player who has a very solid understanding of the game. It's nice to see him kind of talk Igloo a little bit through what he saw, as well as 2 for 2 goes down to start. Now, 1 player will be sent in. Could it be the hero, or is the hero going to be saved in reserve? Right now, we know for sure Igloo is sitting on 1 stock and is looking for as much as possible to try and equalize things. Try to make Willie's job as quote-unquote easy as possible.
Right, because again, you have to think that was basically a couple hits away from Willie completing that 5-stock run. And now Igloo is 1 stock away from getting Willie into that same spot. Granted, likely different characters for Willie to deal with. We have not seen Chugs yet, so likely, I strongly believe, that will be one of these 2 remaining characters. It's just a matter of which one. You saw what I saw.
Yep.
I heard that. Kevin, getting ahead of me there, sees that Terry is the response for UNCG. Moxort will go for revenge, and we will likely see another Terry mirror matchup if Igloo is to bow out of this one without a 3-stock.
Right, you're dealing with a pretty tall ask ahead of you. Terry is the kind of character who can very quickly run away with games. 1 nair into the burn knuckle, already building 26% onto Igloo off of 1 good interaction, as those burning power waves will do a little bit more damage, as Moxort is sitting under the platform trying to get Igloo to approach.
Yeah, playing the long game. Moxort clearly not afraid to sit and take as long as needed for the action to come to him, and Igloo unfortunately is the one that's going to have to make something happen, find his way in, but using the platform as much as he can, and smartly so, because Terry's vertical game not as good as the horizontal game, but certainly still there, as we see the rising tackle send Igloo very close to the blast zone. Not enough to find a stock yet, but again, as long as he's got 1, it can be done. So Igloo now up to 97% on his last stock, and just fishing to find ideally 1. The spot dodge timing doesn't work out for him, so Igloo falls just short, and now 1 player remains between UNCG and a national championship. Willie looking to not let it happen on his watch.
Yeah, which I expect a run back on Terry Bogard, but I also would completely understand if he did want to swap it up at this point. A lot of that game that we just saw was Moxort sitting under the platform and forcing Igloo to get close, and that's allowed in crew battles. Matches have a timer of 7 to 8 minutes or so. If that runs out, both teams lose 1 stock and then you go again. Shenandoah is the one who needs to approach right now. They need to be the ones to initiate. So Terry's taking the sweet route, saying, hey, I want my natty. I'm willing to play this as slow as I need to secure my game plan, and it works out especially well.
Yeah, so the task is laid out in front of him, right? 6 stocks. We saw Willie in this position just last week against Southwestern Oklahoma State University. And last time we saw Willie in this position, he went on quite a tear to send Shenandoah to the national championship. Well, it wasn't on Terry last time, and it won't be on Terry this time. Kazuya Mishima makes his first appearance of the night. Willie just looking to return back to what he is, at the end of the day, extremely comfortable on. And why not? We return to Kalos, and now already 100% on the board for Willie, but that means a go meter's also on board for Moxor.
Yeah, Moxor is playing a very dangerous game when dealing with Kazuya Mishima as the electric connects into the up B, and 50% built on Willie, but this matchup's going to be fast, people. This is a game of two people who want to run at each other, and Willie, sitting there with the crouch jabs, is calling out the roll-ins. Look at that, the back tilts as well, just trying to get momentum in his favor as much as possible.
Yep, Willie playing as aggressive as he can, and with nothing to lose, right? He does get caught on the ledge there with the down tilt. Moxor showing exactly where Terry thrives. We saw where Kazuya can thrive, but Moxor with a great response. Now, the plays around the shields have interested me because Willie has not been able to deal with Moxor's shields, and Moxor has been able to get a good couple grabs on Willie in his shields, so that could be something to keep an eye out. But if Kazuya's hitting combos like these, shields are not going to be enough to get you out of that one, and Moxor loses his second.
Yeah, so Willie's sitting here with Rajar. Here's the grab, Chris. One electric connects into the ground once again. A very good shield from Moxor will get them out of the combo as Willie is looking for those electrics.
Yeah, the Rage Drive is still online, but he is very close to losing it. A charged up smash goes just wide, and Moxor strings it into a rising tackle while the stock is not lost. Willie does lose the Rage Drive, but he might not need it. He's able to find a good combo there, but we are on Kalos. Kevin, the blast zone is so high. The up B will not be enough to finish it, and the go meter now online, but not for long. Moxor goes down, and Willie still with two is only one stock down with a head-to-head against likely the best player in North Carolina.
Oh, the ability to sit in the face of your opponent and go for a hit option. That move that Willie went for to close out that stock, I am fairly confident that traded with a Terry down tilt. They both went for a move, they both connected, but Kazuya's move is a two-hit. Suddenly a fist goes right in the face of Terry Bogard, and Willie wipes 167% off the table.
Yep, just like that, where it looked like Moxar was one hit away. A couple times Willie could have died, but holds on to his stock for as long as possible and finds little opportunities, and that's all he needs. We know that Willie is lethal on this Kazuya, and that's exactly why we saw the mix-up there. On paper, I think a lot of us would agree that under any other circumstances, Terry's probably the right decision. But at the end of the day, Willie's more comfortable on Kazuya, and with a national championship on the line, you're back against the wall, standing on your heels. Why change who you are?
And that's what I'm saying, Chris. In fighting games, there are three kinds of players. There are the ones who think all numbers, all frame data. There are the ones who just hit buttons because their gut says so. But sometimes when you play with that heart, you can get magic. And that is the kind of magic that Shenandoah needs right now. 2 stocks on Kazuya left. We're talking a lot about this hero, Chris. I want to acknowledge it is very reasonable for UNCG to send in someone else here. If they play the numbers game, they might think that Min Min is a better option. And if that is the case, suddenly you do have that matchup you were talking about before, a Riddles sort of collegiate matchup.
Yeah, this is something that I actually did not really put together. That, yeah, UNCG only has one player left, and where we were so afraid of the Sonic and the Min Min for Willie's Kazuya, you have to make a decision if you're UNCG. Do you play the matchup game, or do you put in your best player to deal with Shenandoah's best player? Well, the answer's on our screen. Chugs is the decision for UNCG, opting for skill over matchup. Will it be enough? We will see. 2 stocks away from a national championship. UNCG looking to cement themselves in history with an NECC National Championship win over Shenandoah if Chugs isn't able to get it done here.
Yeah, Chug's doing a lot of up B, trying to catch Willie on the approach. Willie looking for opportunities to dance around it. A couple of buffs coming out from the hero player means that one psych up back air will be able to secure that one stock. One stock left. Chugs looking for the other way, is able to land safely on the platform, and is once again using that up B to stay safe on those platforms.
Yeah, platform able to save potentially a full stock there as Willie was fully into one of his combos, but Chugs walks away with 3. A lot of shielding coming out from Chugs, and it's protecting him very well. And Willie struggling to get these combos strung together, but that one is an opportunity, able to roll away from the up B again, and the snooze comes out. He's going to build himself up as much as possible, but it won't be enough that time. A critical might have been able to do it, but the die rolls in favor of SU, and Willie gets away with one there.
Yeah, as we see the Zoom online able to get back onto the stage, sitting real high against Willie, trying to make sure that Willie is the one approaching in very awkward spots, is able to get past the setup, but Willie able to find the up smash and close out another stock.
Okay, first one down for Willie. Why not 2 more? Rage Drive online, and we'll see if he's able to get it off. The bounce also now in place, so you won't likely see any more lasers come out of this Kazuya as he struggles to make his way back onto the stage. 160% gets grabbed and thrown up. That will do it. UNCG are your national champions. Shenandoah falling just short, but not after a valiant effort, keeping UNCG very much on their toes, working as hard as they could, but ultimately Shenandoah just short, and UNCG, the Spartans, are your national champions.
Yeah, and a very strong performance all around, making a couple of change-ups. UNCG making a very bold decision to change who they send in first. Still a very important one, because that saved this hero player for this anchor spot, and that matchup looked very difficult. To try and deal with that sort of setup, Willie would have needed to be able to play a stronger aerial game, but at that point, the character's locked in, and you can't really swap up your options.
Yeah, unfortunate break for Shenandoah, but boy, did they make it hard. They looked great every step of the way. And while, like we said, I think the game plan for today was that SU was likely not going to be ahead until the clocks hit 0. They looked great for that game plan, right? They put themselves in positions to succeed, but ultimately the University of North Carolina, Greensboro looked phenomenal today. They showcased exactly why they earned their ticket to compete today. They showcased why they got wins over incredible teams along the way and ultimately walk out as winners.
Yeah, beautiful stuff all around. I'm happy for the people at UNCG. I do feel it for the people here at Shenandoah. I loved that we had a nail-biter of a series, Chris. We could have had a true blowout either way, but it's not nearly as fun as we are sitting here leaning over the desk trying to figure out, is he going to get the next hit? Is he going to find an opportunity to equalize things? I mean, I love this setting. I will say it every time.
Yeah, a couple hits separating these two teams, but UNCG, the better team at the end of the day. It absolutely earned it, and congratulations to them. While Shenandoah may be done for this year, these players are not going anywhere, so they will get another opportunity next year to do the same. And while we've talked about it all year, you and I have followed this team all year long, and we've been saying it, maybe when other people didn't believe it, we said that this team had the potential to do some serious stuff to really make a splash in the postseason. And while maybe, yeah, we didn't entirely believe that it would be a national championship, they sure enough find themselves in that position, and boy, did they earn it. So could not be more proud of the guys out in the arena, could not be more proud of the prod team that was able to put together all of these shows all along the year, but unfortunately just short, but not anything to hang your head about, right? It was an incredible season. So many genuinely unforgettable moments that we will live with for the rest of our lives.
Oh, yeah. Too many clips to count on one hand. So many great moments all around. I also just got to acknowledge that Shenandoah is not done with the competition side of things either. We got a Rocket League match here on Thursday. If you are a Shenandoah fan, you got to be sticking around because there are chances for Magic to still be going around this campus.
Exactly. While SU Smash may be done for this season, SU Rocket League is still dancing, and their national championship is on Thursday in Division 4 of NECC Rocket League. So that will be one you won't want to miss. But it sounds like we will get word from the players here soon, and I'm dying to hear what they're feeling. I'm sure the emotions are high out there, but I have to believe that the strategy that was in place was not flawed. I think SU's game plan coming into today was exactly what it needed to be. The hits just fell UNCG's way, and that has to happen to one of these teams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, welcome to Smash Bros. Sometimes things do just kind of fall one way. Sometimes you're able to predict it, you're able to get ahead of it. Other times, hey, you signed up to play this game, and we all love it because it is so much fun to see those sorts of hype moments and have those opportunities for those potential crazy reversals or weird setups. I cannot express enough how excited I am to see how this roster does going forward in the next year or two. But with all that being said, I do think, Chris, we're going to pass it over to Ben, and it looks like Kip for an interview. So guys, take it away.
Thank you, Chris and Kevin. I am standing by with Kip here, our Pac-Man player on our SU varsity team here. It's a bittersweet ending to the season, but you guys gave it your all. How do you feel after playing this very, very talented UNCG team?
I mean, definitely, understandably, pretty sad, but regardless, I'm still very proud of my team and how far we've gotten this semester. Like, even though we couldn't quite, close it out to win the nationals, but we still put in a lot of work this semester. This isn't a result to be upset about. It definitely hurts, but I know that what we did to get to this position isn't for nothing.
No, not for nothing at all. You guys are second in the nation here, in the country, in the nation, everything. You are the second best team here in NECC. What do you have to say about this team's journey and how far you guys got and how you pulled everything together to make it this far?
I just think there's been a lot of growth, like not just like within the game itself, but just like outside the game. I used to have these really bad issues of like feeling like I'm not like doing enough for my team, and especially like last week's match and like this week's match, I think I've been dealing with it a lot better than I like used to in the past, like in terms of like how I act like outside of the game, because I've learned that I have a team. I'm not in it alone, but there's just so much growth that we've gone through as a team back then in terms of like our strategy, just getting better at the game in general as a whole, and I'm just really proud of us.
Proud you should be. Any last words you want to say to the viewers, to family, to your teammates, anyone at all?
I think everyone, my team, they're always there for me. Like I'm always there for them. It's kind of like a second family here at Shenandoah. And thank you to the entire program here, because I know how much you all love to watch us. I know we had a bit of a watch party going on in the collaboratory of the Hive. So that felt really good that we had that, that amount of people come out and watch us. I also like to thank my family as well. My mom and dad, they're always so... they're always like wondering like, when's your next match? Like they always look forward to like watching us, and it's just great to see. But yeah, I just like to thank everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you everyone. Thank you guys for being so amazing as you guys always are. I'm going to toss it back to the casters to wrap up the evening. Guys, back to you.
I had one thought I'd like to share. That's my bad. Some technical difficulties, but I think that There truly is no shame in losing to a team who is either better than us or plays better than us. I think that a team who plays better will win, and that is the way of things. But I also think that the way of things is that regardless of who won tonight, both of us are going to be competing again next season with stronger drive than ever. And I think the way of things is that we will be back next season, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. A lot of emotion out there, certainly, and for good reason, right? Heartbreak on those players' eyes, but boy, are they ready to get back into it for whenever these two teams meet again.
Yeah, welcome to the fighting game community, Chris. We strive for the chance to really just go back and forth at it. Yeah, you may have been the king today, but let me tell you, tomorrow is another day, and I'm gunning for your spot in these series. I love to hear that while they're willing to rest up for now, they want another shot at this, and they're ready to play once again.
Well, you will not want to miss it whenever that happens. So, while that does it for us here tonight, be sure to drop us a follow on whatever platform you are watching so you don't miss out on any of our action in semesters to come, as well as, like we mentioned, Rocket League National Championship is on Thursday for Division 4 NECC. So, our job is not done here yet in the esports arena for this semester, and you won't want to miss it. Be sure to tune in Friday. And I want to take a quick moment to shout out. This is Kevin's last show. Kevin's about to graduate. So thank you so much for tuning in all year long. Thanks for listening to Kevin and I yap about Smash Bros. And everything else that we talk about. But you won't want to miss any of our other shows. While you won't see us on Thursday, you may see the rest of our casters both Thursday and for semesters to come. So thank you so much for supporting us all year long. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might just change their life, and we will see you next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the Esports Arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the Esports Arena is the Esports War Room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
Varsity as 154 teams signed up to compete in Super Smash Bros. This year in NECC. 48 teams entered the national tournament with the goal of winning it all, and now, May 6th, 2025, only 2 remain for both of these squads in regular season. An incredible showing all the way up till it mattered in playoffs.
Yeah, 2 universities who both had not only amazing runs during the regular season, but even beyond that, Chris, we've seen a lot of just amazing adaptations from both sides
Around in their character choices, you said it. Jigglypuff, Yoshi, Pac-Man, Kazuya, Terry, Samus, Ness. I mean, we've seen it all, right? Throughout this semester, this team covers a lot of ground, and that's how they've gotten to this point. But their opponent tonight, UNCG, is no exception. Possible would be incredibly important for SU to get off strong.
Yeah, and that's going to be the difficult part right now, Chris, is that Hero's Sword covers a lot of space and a lot of shield setups going.
Yeah, Faramis definitely has an eye for that pound, and we saw it pay off pretty good recently, but not that stock. But now down to Hero, only finding a couple hits, but finding, some serious, heavy hitting ones. Opts for the forward smash, and it's enough. This is what Chugs likes to play around. We know that this is a pretty standard Hero player in that he likes to sit back and buff himself up exactly like you just saw there.
Percentage will continue to build.
Yeah, and as soon as he gets an opportunity, you can bank that we will see Chugs go somewhere near center stage and start fishing for
Igloo alive. And what we talked about earlier, Chris, your ability to hold on to these stocks can make a big difference as Igloo goes in and is looking for it all. One back air into the forward smash.
In that down air won't connect. A great projectile there from Chugs. Finds his way back on stage. The forward air goes wide. Again, return back onto the stage.
Where those forward airs, playing it a little bit slower than before, is able to find a falling up air, trying to punish the approach, but Hero being a little too heavy, won't die to the up air. Tries to go off and get the edge guard, won't be able to find it, but will be able to keep this Pyro off stage.
That's a stock, no?
Oh, careful, Chris. Oh, there's
the stock. Pyra is out, Kevin.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good opportunity for a reversal as Pyro is looking for everything to close it out. The double jump armor will be able to armor the first. Right now, a lot of aerials thrown in the face of this Pyra Mithra player, just trying to keep them away, but instead, Pyra holding in.
No kill confirmed just yet. Out of Kip.
Yeah, Kip struggling to find the stock. Orange is thrown out. Able to throw it down this time around.
113%, and a couple opportunities, not quite there. 130% now with a bell in hand. The sour spot, the lingering forward smash, and Kip gets away with one there. All of the decision making, the confidence looks astronomically higher than it did in the last matchup. You can tell that Kip likes this matchup, but does get caught hanging onto the ledge just a little too long that time around. So Mock Swords finds himself at 140, but gonna have to make up some ground here after leaving a kill on the board there earlier on. But Kip still looking pretty good, does get spiked, but oh no, Pac-Man with no in this moveset, but another jab power dunk gets SDI'd out of an advantage. Willie with an opportunity, catches the jab on the roll jab.
Is set up onto it.
Yeah, Willie doing a great job of getting some serious value out of this go meter. The auto turnaround catches stock from it. Again, though, Willie doing a great job of getting value from the go meter. It can be hard to capitalize from a comeback mechanic without just losing your...
Willie doing a good job of finding an opportunity back on. Does get hit with the double jump out of the way. There's that Dragon Fire, Chris, and I don't know if Willie can make it back at that point, and there is no double jump.
Yeah, and capitalize on an advantage. Jab, power dunk does connect. Won't quite take that one, but Minmin more than enough to get back to the stage, but right
back on stage. Willie caught in a tech situation on the platform. Will need to find an opportunity to back on. Does get past the megawatt, but there's a Dragon Fist to follow. There's the power dunk to follow. Arms like it will close out this match in a lickety-split second as we see Willie doing a dance.
Oh, wow, the aerial just...
Look at how the two players are trying to space each other out, trying to get the other one to take in the bait and approach first. Swift Baby able to find a forward air, able to find the back air this time around.
Damage, but a lot of control has been showcased out of Swift Baby ever since. A lot of damage, stock taken at 57% to boot, but
very careful with the shield already, but Farambis has done a pretty good job of showcasing that he can utilize shield pretty effectively without feeling the pressure of losing it.
He can before likely bowing out, but the back air connects, and strong DI from Farambis will give him another opportunity, but trading that spike against Terry, that's not how he wanted to go out, and that's not how I'm sure anyone was expecting him to go out. So looking to prove himself here with a key through the surprise there from across the stage, and Kip finds his first and is on his way.
Yeah, we'll be able to find the forward air. Yoshi looking for a falling up air to potentially close out the stock. The back air.
And when you get on the near side of that hydrant, it can be overwhelming for Pac-Man to deal with.
Yeah, but there's that B reverse into the up smash, which will be able to close out another time to charge one more bell.
Yeah, what did we learn about Kipper earlier this semester? It's that he thinks Pac-Man can really struggle to take stocks. We'll see if it's enough to find 16% and struggling to find much success on the Pyra. So the recovery does get back to the ledge once again. The bell catches the landing and so close to losing it so many times, but does get knocked into another opportunity to recover, so make it 157%.
Solid amount of space coverage, just dashing forward, going for the nair. Igloo respecting it, dashing backwards in exchange. Clearly respecting the game plan, but the Pyro
will not quite be enough, so Igloo holding on to this stock. Still, Igloo able to avoid the projectile, but the up tilt is...
Enough of that. I will take full control of center stage, and you will be the one to have to deal with me.
Yeah, Igloo having to find a way to deal with this pressure, and he can. Pyra recover from that, she certainly can. So Igloo cannot quite capitalize on the ledge, but does find an air to at least send them off stage and done. So Igloo now up to 97% on his last stock, and just fishing to find ideally the spot dodge time already 100% on the board for Willie, but that means a go meter's also on board for Moxford.
Yeah, Moxford is playing a very dangerous game when dealing with Kazuya Mitotz as well, just trying to get momentum in his favor as much as possible.
Yep, Willie playing as aggressive as he can and with nothing to lose, right? And Moxford has been able to get a good couple grabs on Willie in his shield, so that could be something to keep an eye out. But if Kazuya's hitting combos like these, he's able to find a good combo there, but we are on Kalos. Kevin, the blast zone is so high, the up B will not be enough to finish it, and the go meter now online, but not for long. Moxorb goes down, and Willie...
Jug's doing a lot of up B, trying to catch Willie on the approach. Willie looking for opportunities to dance around it. A couple of buffs coming out from the hero player means that once I'm able to get back onto the stage, sitting real high against Willie, trying to make sure that Willie is the one approaching in very awkward spots, is able to get
any more lasers come out of this Kazuya as he struggles to make his way back onto the stage. 160% gets grabbed and thrown up. That will do it. UNCG are your national champions. Shenandoah falling just short, but not after a
regardless, I'm still very proud of my team and how far we've gotten this semester. Like, even though we couldn't quite, close it out to win the nationals, but we still put in a lot of work this semester. This isn't a result to be upset about. It definitely hurts, but I know that what we did to get to this position isn't for nothing.
Plays better than us. I think that a team who plays better will win, and that is the way of things. But I also think that the way of things is that regardless of who won tonight, both of us are going to be competing again next season, stronger drive than ever. And I think the way of things is that we will be back next season, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
Guys, back to you.